Call to order the meeting of Monday, November the 28th, and if the clerk would please take the roll.
Councilmember Archibald.
Here.
Councilmember Ashford.
Present.
Councilmember Harris.
Here.
Councilmember Lewandowski.
Here.
Councilmember Ruiz.
Here.
Councilmember Warden.
Here.
Mayor Rep.
Here. You have the minutes from the regular meeting of November the 14th. Is there a motion to receive and file?
So move.
Mayor Pro Tem Ashford, is there a second?
Support.
Councilmember Archibald, is there any additions or deletions? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes will stand as submitted. We are now to the public comment time of our meeting. If there's anyone who wishes to address the city council, please come forward to the podium and give us your name, and you have 4 minutes.
Good evening. I'll start by telling you a little bit about myself. My name is Destiny Salyers, and I'm a resident here in Port Huron. I am a mother, fiance, and young entrepreneur, as well as an MMP caregiver of about 2.5 years. I am addressing this council today in an effort to lift the 2010 moratorium in place regarding medical marijuana dispensaries within the city, in hopes of creating immediate and progressive conversation and establishing a proper ordinance. The Medical Marijuana Act of 2008 has its holes and downfalls, so I certainly understand the decision this council made in 2010. However, House Bills 4209, 4210, and 4827 were signed by Governor Snyder on September 21st and take effect December 20th, 2016. These now public acts will enact rules and regulations for 5 state operating licenses, including commercial growers, provisioning centers, secure transporters, processors, and safety compliance facilities. This legislation also covers everything from state and local taxes to a seed-to-sale tracking system on the statewide monitoring system. It creates a marijuana excise fund by taxes collected from marijuana facilities, and according to House Bill 4209, each city will receive a percentage of these taxes allocated to the number of marijuana facilities within the city. Now, a personal observation that I'd like to share is that this legislation mimics closely the legislation passed in Colorado just a few short years before they passed recreational use. So this to me means that a brand new industry is fast approaching the state of Michigan. And I believe that the city of Port Huron can be well prepared for these changes with an ordinance that satisfies the concerns of all parties involved, including patients, caregivers, law enforcement, and state government. As things stand today, MMP patients in this city or county do not have safe, reliable, responsible, and readily available access to medical marijuana. This encourages non-compliant, black market transactions and leaves very little room for accountability. A new and proper ordinance will greatly reduce these shady and irresponsible transactions that patients currently face, as well as allow patients to obtain the medicine that is best for them through an extensive and accurate testing and review analysis. The most important resolution would be safe, tested, and properly dispersed medical marijuana products. In addition to safe acquisition of medical marijuana, allowing marijuana facilities will significantly raise revenue and create many competitive paying jobs in Port Huron. And before I go, I would like to share with this council a few relevant facts and statistics, one being that 23 states in this country now have medical marijuana laws in play, and I do believe that the majority of Michigan residents not only want functioning medical marijuana laws, but to end prohibition altogether. Before that happens, and I do believe it is happening quickly, we as a city need to allow potential operators to plan, prepare, and responsibly execute this industry. The citizens of this state passed the Medical Marijuana Act by 63% in 2008, and citizens of this city have passed to decriminalize marijuana use within the city in 2014. Also, a recent analysis shows a nearly 70% rise in the number of patients in this county over the last 3 years. And that being said, I do believe it is safe to say that Port Huron is ready to regulate and motivate the proper handling of this industry. And I also plan to conduct local polls and community discussions to try and figure out what concerns the residents and what they want to see happen. I love this city, and I would love to start and expand my business here. My plan focuses on safety, responsibility, and compliance to ensure my success. I have my contact information here for each member of council. If you have any questions about my plan or statistical sources, please call, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Just hand this here at the end.
Yep, down at the end, and then if there's enough there for everybody. Thank you.
Nancy Windsor, Mayor and City Council. I just want an opportunity to thank the community for Friday night. There's almost 30 entries in the Santa Parade, a lot of organizations and volunteers that came together to do that event. Also, people that could have been sitting on the couch in the rain that came out to volunteer. People like Monica Mercurio, Paul Murray, Nancy Falk, Matt Falk, Wing Theo, Sherry McCullum, Josie Edwards, Lynn Zansky, Trish Lefevre, and Mark Polis. It just takes a lot to put that on, and I'd like to thank them. They just gave of their time on Friday. Also, Natalie Watson and Tony George on our staff that gave of their time to put the event together, and all the Parks and Forestry staff, and Ben for the lights, and McMorrin, and Sparky, who was out there sweating it with us, trying to make sure all the circuits were going to hold. And so anyways, I just want an opportunity to say, what a great community we live in, and I think it was a great event, and I wanted an opportunity to thank all those people, and for the mayor giving the key to Santa, so that all the children in Port Huron can get wonderful things for Christmas. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Nancy. It was a nice parade, even if it was wet. Is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to address the council this evening? No one. I declare public comment closed. We'll move on to communications and petitions.
Number 1 is to receive and file the November 8th, 2016 election results for mayor and 3 council members as canvassed by the St. Clair County Board of Canvassers.
Is there a motion to receive and file?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Archibald. Is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Harris. Is there discussion?
Mayor Rep,
Councilmember Ruiz.
has anyone approached us about having a recount?
Yes, we received, can I answer that?
Yeah.
We received an email today from the county clerk telling us to start getting prepared because the recount was, or the canvass of the election for the entire state ended today. They did finalize everything today, so they have until Wednesday to file their recount
It
petition.
looks like that's going to happen.
I think they're thinking yes. So we're gearing up for it.
It's not fun.
Thank you.
As the world turns.
There's no other discussion. We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Harris?
Yes.
Councilmember Lewandowski?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Councilmember Warden?
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Move on to resolutions.
Number 1 is to confirm and approve single lot special assessments for fines, assessments, and/or the cost of removing blighting factors and/or causes of blight, as well as the abatement of nuisances.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Archibald. Is there a second?
Support.
Mayor Pro Tem Ashford. Is there discussion?
Mayor Rep,
Councilmember Harris.
just kind of a question. I just wonder if council could be giving some kind of a listing or parameters on what some of these fees are, whether, how much it is for lawn cutting and for picking up trash and things like that.
I think we're gonna get it.
Is there a standard?
The answer to your question is yes and no. A lot of it's dependent upon what we encounter and the size of the lot and how many lots and those type of things. It is a draw system where different vendors, let's say we have 10 yards that have to be cut. They'll put out those 10, and then we'll take a bid from whoever's up on the list and then get a price, and at that point there, it's awarded to the one that's the lowest price or within who, hasn't done it repeatedly. So I can't give you a standard price per se, but we do monitor it and watch very closely that, one day it's not a $125 cut, the next day a $500 cut for the same lawn, if that's what you're wondering. But all these aren't the same problem with the same house and the same size lot, and do they have trash that has to be removed first? Are there other, other building supplies or something, the garbage? Is there something that has to be disposed of that's going to require a landfill permit or something of that nature? So each one in itself is kind of unique. One thing we do is at the end of business today, I get a call back from Code Enforcement to make sure that nobody has gone in to pay the assessment prior to bringing it before the council at night. Because every once in a while, one will slip through, but for the most part, we're very careful in terms of that. I can bring you a standardized list for the next council meeting or send it to you via email if you'd like.
I think it'd be kind of interesting. I know I looked at a couple of properties in our area there, and they're like 50 by 75 lot and stuff, and it appears like $275 for a lawn cutting, and that just kind of a shocker to me, but maybe that's what we have.
Good business to get
Maybe
into,
that's
huh?
what we have to charge to
Yeah,
get-
it
to
really
get the work
depends.
done.
And then what's their availability? Because a lot of these guys have other contracts, and it depends on their availability. Can they employ a crew? Maybe the crew has to work overtime that day. So there's a lot of factors that go into it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other?
Mayor Rep,
Yes,
Chief.
Councilmember Warden.
thank you. Just with having this brought before us in a list of, there's like 23 of these, just, not really just about a pricing list. This does say that it's got fines or weeds or so forth. I'm sure you have all your ducks in a row to get to this point. If there's any way that we would be able to know what, before we're asked to vote on this, what it was, how much was it, whether it was a fee or a fine, or if
Yeah,
there was
I
any
can-
payments made before this for any partial.
Well, what we'll do is we'll add an additional column and try to explain what is the fee. I'll tell you right now, the ones that, something like 60, that's an AHB assessment by the judge who holds the AHB hearings. I can tell that right off the bat. There's a couple of here that I see that are what I would call continuous people, where the fines have continued on. We see the same names over and over and over again. There's a few of those on this list, but I'll see if we can add a little bit more detail in terms of what it took to come up with that final number.
Yeah, just because it's a two-sided coin. We're representing the taxpayers and the taxpayer dollars that are being spent, we want to recoup. But on the other side, these are residents or taxpayers in our city, and I want to know, you guys have, how far along it took to get here, and
Well, literally, some of these have been years in the making, and these taxpayers are causing the rest of us to pay taxes,
Right.
pay even more.
yeah,
We're just asking them to pay their fair share of the amount that they owe for money we've already spent for the rest of us taxpayers.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Is there any other discussion? We will take the vote.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Harris?
Yes,
Councilmember Lewandowski?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Councilmember Warden?
Yes,
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Item 2 under resolutions.
Is approving the postponement of the second meeting in December.
Is there a motion?
So move.
Mayor Pro Tem Ashford, is there a second?
Support.
Member Archibald. Is there any discussion? We will take the, yeah,
Is this the first meeting we come at 5:45 prior? I mean, not this one, but the second one?
the first meeting
The
is when we
first
come at
meeting in December.
5:45.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was on the.
Oh, that
yeah,
was
the
just a
notice.
question, not this one?
No, no,
Question,
no,
yeah,
no. That doesn't affect this meeting at all.
No, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Harris?
yes,
Councilmember Lewandowski?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Councilmember Warden?
yes,
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. We'll move on to resolution number 3, which was added today.
Authorizing Marcotte Disposal Company Incorporated to perform the service of curbside leaf vacuum pickup for Zone 1 from December 5th through the 9th, 2016, for a cost of $17,000.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Lewandowski. Is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Ruiz. Perhaps we could have an explanation of why we added this, either yourself or Lenny?
Yeah, Lenny can give you an update on the costs. One of the reasons why I added this on today was after talking with Lenny, I spoke with the mayor as well, and also several phone calls. Our biggest concern was the senior citizens who raked it out to the curb and probably couldn't bag it. So this would be in addition to the bagging, which is still scheduled for next week. But it would also allow for, they mostly dropped last week, so one of the things was Zone 2 is in pretty good shape, but it's Zone 1, and Lenny can talk about the review they did this morning with Marcotte.
Thank you.
Well, as you know, we've had relatively warm, mild temperatures throughout the month, but last week we had some significant drop in temperatures and high winds, and we had a significant leaf drop, which finally brought us back into our normal timing. Unfortunately, they had already started the final curbside leaf vacuum pickup for Zone 1, and so we don't feel that the folks in Zone 1 have had the opportunity to put all of their leaves to the curb. They started Zone 2 this morning on the north side west of Pine Grove, moving south, and we feel that Zone 2 will have adequate time. Yeah, I'm in Zone 2. Will have adequate time to put their leaves to the curb, and it should not be a problem. Was there a question on the price, did you say?
No,
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 okay.
I don't think,
All right.
question, just explain how you, I assume you met with
So
them. and-
we felt that we contacted Marcotte over the weekend, and we actually got them to give us a quote to extend one more week of curbside leaf vacuum service, which is the best for the residents. It's the most convenient, and they're going to perform the service the week of the 5th, the 9th of December. When they finish with the Zone 2 this week, then they'll move on to Zone 1, give it one more sweep.
Sweep through the city. Okay. Any other questions from anyone
Mayor
on
Rep?
council? Councilmember Harris.
I guess my question was over the fee and the length of it. We're talking about already adding a extra pickup on the bags and stuff, but when you look at this, we could get the whole city done for $25,000 according to an email I got, and now they're going to charge us $17,000 to do the majority of probably Zone 1. But I guess the problem I got with it is, are we going to use all 5 days of this? Or I'd much rather see it if we broke this down to a daily fee and stuff, and if they get it done by Thursday, then we only pay for 3 days or what have you. But I understand, the first couple weeks that we started our leaf pickup, that the trucks just drove up and down the streets and didn't do anything because they weren't there. But now we're put into a situation where it's going to cost us an arm and a leg, and I'm not sure if we need both arms and both legs.
If I may, Rep?
Yes,
If I may.
Councilmember Ruiz.
An observation, I kind of differ with what my observation was, that in the past, they have, when they've been assigned to a zone and there was nothing there, and that really hit this year in the initial zone pickup, that they would just kind of cruise on down. What I saw this year was a number that they must have had that kind of dead time, and they got a jump on Zone 2 and did the same thing. They came across and it made sense. And I'm hoping if there's a full week of this, that they are able to tolerate or take care of Zone 1, which I'm sure they need, because the timing of all this and the leaves being so late, I'm glad we're doing it as a service to everybody. That if they happen to have some extra time, if somebody is doing a little scouting and there happens to be a couple places, but we can't promise people in Zone 2, they've had the opportunity. I've had the opportunity to get my leaves out there, but maybe they can eyeball if there happens to be a little common sense applied, that they say, oh, there's a couple of spots there. But again, I wouldn't want to promise people that that's there, just.
Well, one of the
I think-
difficulties we've had is there hasn't been a steady leaf fall. In fact,
Right.
we've had a majority of leaves fall in the course of 1 week. And if you've seen Marcotte out on the road, you've seen that they're out there with a larger than normal crew, all with large rakes.
Late into the day.
And they are
Yeah.
working to bring, they're not just taking what's on the street, they're raking things down in the street. They're working to catch up, because the leaf fall has been much heavier in a 1 week period than normal. And yet they're only going to get paid for that 1 week of time.
Right.
Now, that payment that they offered to us essentially is their cost. They have to lease this large vacuum truck for a period of a week. Whether they use it for 4 days or 5 days, they're still paying that amount. They have, of course, their laborers and their fuel costs and everything else. So I don't feel that this is an exorbitant amount of money. Is actually the 1 week for $25,000 was what they were going to charge us. They said, we'll let you have it at cost, which is approximately $17,000.
And
know
as
it's in
James
there.
mentioned, when you talk about senior citizens having to deal with that, just putting those things in bags and so on, is just, that's too much. I think it's money well spent.
And I do notice in their letter, they did say that they're just providing this at actual cost. They're not making any money for it, so. And I will say, too, I was very impressed with their service this year, because I was home when they were doing our neighborhood and looked across the street, and because of the wind, the neighbors' leaves had been out by the curb, but of course, by the time they came by, they were in the mid part of their lawn, and they had like 5 guys that went out and raked them all back down to the curb for them and took them, so I was very impressed with their service this year. I think they did a good job.
We're pleased with the services Marcotte has done in this case.
Is there any other questions?
Mayor,
Councilmember Archibald.
typically this, I think if I'm correct, we do this twice in each zone in November. And so we have a contract to do the pickup, but this is not the first time since I've been on council that we've had to authorize another pickup. And especially this year being so warm, the leaves weren't coming down. So I'm questioning if there's some way that we maybe relook at this, not for this year, but in the future, that maybe we're starting too soon. Because we repeatedly are having to come back in that first week of December as opposed to typically that first week in November, there's nothing out there to pick up yet. So I would like us to at least look at what can we do so that we're not constantly coming back saying we need to spend more money. Why don't we just delay the start by a week or so?
These dates for leaf pickup have been established by the contract that was written 3 years ago.
Right.
And we've already discussed in detail how we might be able to modify that in future. Unfortunately, we can't always predict the weather. We're good, but we're not that good.
I agree, but I'd like us to look at, maybe it's a tentative start date or something else when we renew the contract so that we have that option to start a little later on when we have the really unseasonably warm fall like we did this year. Thank you.
Councilmember Lewandowski.
And just to piggyback off Councilmember Archibald, I said, you can never predict it right. I've seen it in years past where we've started it later and they all froze to the cement. $17,000, it's a lot of money. But, you got to look at it this way. If you let them sit out there, it's going to cost you a lot more if you have to send our crews out when they freeze or in the spring to clean them up when they clog up the drains. So, it's money I don't want to spend, but I understand the need for it. The only question I have is where are the funds coming? What fund are we using?
It'll come from the designated refuse fund.
Okay.
How are we going to let people know, other than if they're listening tonight, what is the method that we're going to use to let people know that there is going to be another week's pickup?
Well, we have, with the approval from the council tonight, we will issue a press release like we did for the bag and let all the local media outlets know that there will be an additional run within Zone 1.
Also, our press release will go to the Commission on Aging as well, so they can send it out to their listserv as well.
Okay.
I guess this one last.
Yes.
And I'm probably the only one up here that's ever done the leaves in this city. After I lost the state rep race, that was a job I took till I could find something else. And it's not a fun job. It's cold out there. It's hard work. So I give these guys credit for doing that.
Yeah, like I said, they do a great job. They really do. So,
I could just probably beat Lenny up. I had to bag 15 bags last night after church. Because I knew it was the last day, yeah.
could have saved it.
Yeah, that's all right.
Any other questions before you run? No? Okay, you can sit down now.
I waddle.
You can walk over there now. I think we're all set.
You're safe.
We will take a vote.
Councilmember Lewandowski.
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz.
Yes.
Councilmember Warden.
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald.
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. That concludes our regular agenda. This is one of those short meetings as we get toward the end of the year. I have several announcements. Well, in addition to the pickup that we've just approved, there's going to be an additional week of yard waste pickup in the bags or marked containers that will take place the same week, December 5th through the 9th, and that will be for the entire city on regular trash collection day. Applications for 2017 Citizens Police Academy will be accepted through December the 12th. Visit www.porthuronpolice.org to download the application. A special city council meeting will be held prior to the regular one at the next one, which is December the 12th. It'll be held at 5:45 p.m. in conference room 408, and that's to hear a presentation of the city's comprehensive annual financial report. Also, something that council should start thinking about, and staff, is that we will, after the first of the year, need to schedule a special meeting to discuss goals. So we'll probably look into something end of January or something like that, so maybe 1st of February. So just keep it on your radar. Is there anything else from anybody else?
Mayor Rep,
Yes, Councilmember Archibald.
I would like to echo Nancy, but also include her in that and say congratulations, great job to Nancy and her staff and all of the volunteers for the parade. It was great to see so many people downtown despite the rain, and it really was a great parade, and thank you again for all your efforts.
Is there anything from anyone else?
Mayor Rep,
Yes, Councilmember Warden.
same thing. I got to run into Nancy, spent about 5 hours decorating the first floor windows there before the parade for the Kresge building, and that gift of that tree with the lights and the new thing, to get those guys behind the scenes that whole week, even before, they were working on that, trying to make sure that every light was gonna light up for that. And I want to say a special thanks to the downtown, the rest of the business owners downtown, and the people making popcorn, handing it out to the kids. It was a good turnout. And I also want to put this little thing in the mind. I really appreciate the lights that are now on the trees lining, with the white lights and then the green lights, and up and down Main Street. I'd like to see if there's I don't know when those are tentatively to come down, but I'd really like to see those stay as long as possible at night, because it really does add a good atmosphere walking up and down downtown, because that's where I live. And it's a big difference. It gives very good feel for what we have. So, thank you.
I was just going to say, I'd be remiss if, in fact, you might want to say what he donated. If you've got a minute, why don't you come up and, because I was just going to say we'd be remiss if we didn't thank him.
Yes, thank you. Well, I'd like to thank Mr. Atchison and Don and Easter and their whole group over there for letting us borrow the tree. And thank you for letting me come back up, because I was having a stroke over there that I forgot to thank them, because we're real so appreciative. This is super expensive and a treat to our downtown, so thank you to them. for
All you
letting
have to
us
do,
borrow.
Nancy, is just wait. We'll know you want to
Oh,
come
man, I
back.
forgot. And Mr. Mike DeLong, he was very helpful in making sure that everything worked and helping us with that, so
Oh, it looks really great in front of McMorran.
thank you to our staff, too.
Anyone else?
Just one final comment. Sure. We had a successful high school hockey Thanksgiving tournament, Larry Mann's, and thing worked well. I think the thing that everybody's looking forward to is getting the parking situation cured at McMorran. That's kind of a backstop right now, but it's something we got to get done.
Very true. If there's nothing else, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Meeting adjourned.